you guys. How are you? I'm almost never on that platform. How you guys doing here? Good morning. Good morning. Okay, it's afternoon here in Puerto Rico, but it's good morning somewhere. Tell me where you're coming in from first and foremost. So, thank you, sexy fit chick. I love that. Nancy, Megan, so good. Nice to see you guys. Okay, so are we ready for a good hump day, right? It's like we are currently halfway through this week, and this is a live that I do Monday through Friday, or at least I try to. If we're not doing other events, I love to jump onto our live, and we call this Shanda on Demand, which, by the way, was somebody who was watching our lives said, Shanda, I just wish I had you in my pocket. And that's how we created something called pocket coaching. And then somebody else said to me, they said, I wish I just had Shanda on Demand. And that's how we named this live that I do is Shanda on Demand, which is currently, sometimes we change every few months on time, but currently we are streaming at noon, Atlantic Standard Time, Eastern Standard Time, and 9 a.m. California time. Okay, so I love myself some California, even though I don't live there anymore. So you guys, first of all, know that somebody said I miss my pocket coaching. Okay, so here's the topic. You want to know what topic is? Can we get to the point? Want to know what the topic is? So today's topic is really my personal, I would call it my personal secret. I've shared it with a lot of people, but just really my personal way of I guess almost justifying my extraordinary drive to succeed in life and to find a way to make it healthy so that it doesn't kill your adrenals. So a lot of times people, when I talk about some of the more personal things in my life, like miscarrying and sometimes I've had moments not too long ago, a couple months ago, where I really wasn't sleeping very well and I knew my hormones were off. A lot of times people think it's because of my drive, and it's kind of I don't know, what is the word? That kind of goes with the preconceived notion around some people's mindset around money and success. And so I promise you this, I am I run my labs pretty often. I am really, really meticulous about my health, and that also aids to anti-aging and fertility. Everything fertility is anti-aging. So, ladies, even if you don't want to have a baby, it is amazing to look at the fertility way of eating and fertility way of supplementing, because it's incredible for your anti-aging. All of that to be said, the biggest thing that people ask me is, other than like, how do you handle this stress, is, how do you live a great life in the process of having an extraordinary drive? So part of the reason why my health doesn't go in the toilet is because I do this one thing, and this one thing changed my life. Like, it changed my life so much that every time I see somebody overwhelmed or frustrated, I just want to give them my one thing. And it's so simple that so often people overlook it. Have you ever had something in your life that you're like, that thing that when I do that thing, by the way, we should just help each other out right now. What is the one thing that you do in your life that when you do it, just everything else works? What is that for you? Just tell me what it is. Maybe it's you drink calm tea, and every time you drink calm tea, you have the best night's sleep, and you're the nicest person to the person you're dating or married to, or you just whatever, right? Like, what is the one thing you do? Because I'm actually curious, because I love to learn. And I think the best learning that we could all have from each other is, what is the one thing that you do in your life that when you do it, everything else comes together? So Jolie said she works out. PA, I don't know your name on there because it's not written like that. Prayer, looking for God. Barbara says prayer. Valerie says when she does yoga or meditates in the morning. And thank you, Tanya, for sharing this live. I really appreciate it. I love it when you guys tag people and share the live. It always warms my heart, because it's such a credibility factor, just a trust factor. Somebody dances. Do you know I had a client that I wouldn't coach unless she danced? because she was just a pain in the you-know-what when she didn't dance. She was like a stress case. And by the way, when you're stressed out or you're overly worried, right? When you're in the weeds, you're overly worried. Guess how not productive you are? You're extraordinary. It is a really, it's like putting a 10-pound weight on your back or a 50-pound weight and trying to work and be productive. It's not an easy task. Okay. So you want to know what my one thing is? Yes? Yes, no, maybe so. Okay, so the number one thing that I noticed, I'm going to grab my flip chart. The number one thing that I noticed with myself, and tell me if this happens with you guys. Do you guys have, like, say you have a day, like say you have like, I don't know, you got nothing on your calendar for a day and you get one phone call that's scheduled at 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock in the morning and it screws up your whole day. Any of you guys have that? Any of you guys have that where it's like, if there's an appointment in your day, it could be a dentist appointment, it could be a business appointment, but you have one meeting planned, and it's almost like it makes your whole day get lost. Yes, okay. So I'm so glad some of you guys have this. So I noticed that about my personality. So number one thing to be able to design a business productivity or life productivity hack is, number one, I always ask myself, what lights me up? What lights me up? What gives me more fun right now? I know this looks backwards in your guys' thing, but so the word says fun, right? So what gives you more fun? So I love to read. I love to, I know you guys, I'm not supposed to lay in the sun, but I actually love to lay in the sun. I put a big hat on, but I love the cool breeze, like at a beach. Like those are the things that just light me up. I love working out until I don't like working out. If I fall off the Richter scale. I love currently, I love long 4 or 5 mile walks. Like I just love them. Like, I don't know what it is. I just love them right now. Somebody says she loves gardening. Yeah, you cannot get me to do that with you, right? But you love gardening. That's super great. Somebody loves exercise, right? So the number one thing that somebody on Instagram says, nature walks and to see the ocean, the visual of the ocean is incredible. So the first thing I do is I ask myself, what really creates fun, joy? It lights me up. Like I feel like I could do it for 30 minutes to an hour and be like, yeah, let's go. So that's the first thing. And what I do is I put that in my calendar. I schedule it. Okay, I put it in my calendar and I schedule it. Second thing that I do is I book me time off. Okay, so this is all backwards. So I'm going to get rid of it, unfortunately. When you do it on live like this. So I book me time. So write this down. First thing, and you guys, I'm going to tell you, most people don't know what makes them happy. And a lot of times people don't design their business and don't design their life. They don't design their fun. And then they're so pissed off at the fact that their life isn't working, but I'm like, you did nothing to make your life work, right? Like you've got to think. And I don't mean this derogatory. I don't mean this as an insult, but I will tell you, I used to not think. And I used to just run through my life and it just kind of compacted into one big blob called my year. And then at the end of the year, I never felt like I really had enough. I was enough. And it was just a shitstorm. And so I share this with you because when I started to think about what are the things that make me happy, and they're the simple things in life that make me happy, but what are the things that make me happy? Like Christmas. I know everybody does Christmas, or a lot of people do Christmas online. I am already booking Christmas. Okay. I have this vision. One of my husband's cousins is coming in from London and we're going to Utah. We love Utah. We love the Montage. We love the Stein Valley, hotel, but we have this vision of doing it different this year where we rent like a ridiculous home and then we let the family know we're going, and it's already starting to work. It's Ash's cousin Eric kind of had this vision, this idea, and so we know that we are going to Utah and we know the dates, and we're now looking for a house for Utah for the dates over Christmas holidays, right? And so I like to go to the mall. I know some of you guys hate that, but I love to go to the mall. So if I cleared a day in my calendar, or I cleared 3 days in my calendar, not that I would go to the mall all 3 days, but I would go and I would just putter right? I would just putter. I would just walk around. I love to do more for other people than I do for myself. Like it lights me up. If I could Christmas shop for you, even if I didn't know you, I would love that. Like I would love to learn about you and go and Christmas shop for you. Like I love that. And where does that come from? When I was a little girl, I met my father. I didn't know him when I was when until really grade 6. And so my first Christmas with my father and my stepmother, my for an entire year. Imagine this. So this is why. So by the way, my father. I mean, my father has lost everything at this point in his life financially. He hasn't lost me, and he's got a lot of things to look forward to in life, but he lost his money. Oh, that's a whole nother life. Okay, like how to not do that, right? And so I've learned from that. But I share this with you because I got to see both sides of the track. I got to see my mom working really hard, working as a furniture saleswoman, and spent basically her whole life in one job, like really two jobs, almost her entire life, and not ever feeling like she could get ahead. And that life sucks. Not interested in it. Not interested in raising my kid in it. Not interested. Right. And my mom is talented. She's amazing. And if she would have hung out with different friends, she would have created a different financial result. I say this all the time. You guys who have not booked tickets for our zone event, you need to go to thezoneevent.com. I wish I had a link for it, but go to thezoneevent.com. Why am I sharing that with you right now? Because exactly the story with my mother. Like if my mom hung out with people that were ambitious and didn't make ambition wrong, then my mom would have created something extraordinary and I would have had a different platform to stand on to go the next direction. So all that to be said, my dad did. Right. And so my father, I would go see my father. And I remember being inside of a limousine. And I've told this story before. I'm driving down to Los Angeles from Vancouver, Canada. I look outside at the concrete jungle of Los Angeles, which is absolutely, in my opinion, not pretty. And I looked at it. And I remember there was a bum sitting there. And I was like, the world looks better from the inside of a limousine. And it absolutely does. The difference between being broke and being financially free is the view. And the view is your perspective. And if you've ever learned anything about happiness, it always comes down to our perspective. And by the way, there's new studies around money and happiness. It kind of trumps the old ones that say it doesn't make you happy. So you should go chat GPT it, right? It's wild. And so I share this with you because I knew what side of the track I wanted to be on. And I had great moments in the wealthy world. Well, I've called my dad the bubble. And so I went a whole year. Now imagine this, not meeting my father until grade 6. And my dad's new wife, Wendy, she spent an entire year going through life with me. And as we walked through stores or coffee shops or whatever, things that I was like, oh my gosh, I love that. And the things she saw lit me up. Right? I felt joy or happiness or love for. She bought them throughout the year. And so imagine this. I felt like I was in a Lifetime movie, like a Hallmark movie. I walk into the living room on Christmas morning, and the living room is huge, and it is filled with presents. And some of you guys have this thing like you don't want to spoil people. I think that's a fear of being happy. I really do. I think it's a fear of being happy. It's like, don't be afraid to love so much. Don't be afraid to get hurt. Don't be afraid to just absolutely experience just extraordinary happiness or I know this is kind of probably a politically incorrect thing to say, but an orgasm. Do you know what I mean? Like, don't be afraid to get out of control emotionally in a good way. Right. And so I share that with you because that was a big fear of mine. Right. And so I walk into the living room and it's filled with Christmas presents. And of course, as a young girl, I was like, oh my gosh, this is the best Christmas on the planet. And so, but here's where the sentimental part came. I started opening up the Christmas presents and tears just started streaming down my face. Because what it was being seen. Like you could see my eyes are getting watery now. It's one of the most profound moments of my life to be seen by your parents at such a level that what was important to me at that time in my life, and that somebody watched me for an entire year and had enough love and compassion and vision to just rock my world. Now, I've never had another Christmas like that, but it was absolutely incredible. And so my connection with the holidays, or my connection with giving, or my connection with, you can see it all over our platforms. We almost never make the same like business offer twice, right? Sometimes we do, but almost never we make the same offer twice. We add different styles of bonuses, and it comes from this real value of seeing my clients, or my new clients, or my potential clients, or whatever that looks like. And so when I look at the whole point of this live is how do you stretch your bandwidth? It's like how I've realized that stretches my bandwidth is not putting my head to the grindstone and going boom, 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 and crushing it. Right? I think it's such a blessing when we all know what we're doing, when we know what we should do in a day, and we go all in, and we get to the end of the day and we're like, we left it on the field. You know what I mean? Like, I love that. I crave for those days, right? Like, I always say, I want to be so lit up about a project that I'm working on that I do work 24 hours, because I'm so lit up about what it's going to produce for other people, or what it's going to produce for my family, or what it's going to produce for the people in the Heartcore business community that are the team inside of Heartcore. Because there's not just the clients, there's also the team that's connected to it. Like, do you know what it's like when you get to the end of a day and you did a great job? Right? So it's like, I want that for the Heartcore business team here at Heartcore, right? Like, being an underperformer sucks. You go to bed feeling unfulfilled, and all you do is pass the blame to the people in your life, like as if it's your job. When was your job supposed to make you happy? How are you contributing to your job? Right? Like, how are you contributing to your job in a way that brings joy, happiness, excitement, productivity, ambition to the table? Do y'all hear what I'm saying here? Like, it's like where do we get responsible for the results that we're going to create in our life? So I share this with you, and I'll end this live on this. The number one thing that I've done in my life is I take 1 week off a month. I take 1 week off a month. And that week, when my family says to me, I can never get a hold of you on your cell phone, it's like, text me. I'm sorry that you want to call, but I'm not going to turn myself inside out to make everybody happy. Right? What I've done is I've created space in my life that I'm able to manage my drive, my ambition, and the demands on me. I have priority focused time in my life every day. I don't take appointments during that time. In fact, I find it incredibly insulting when people try and come into my priority focus time, because I'm like, I'm trying to tell you that's what I need to do my job. If I've got 90 minutes a day to focus on my stuff, then what happens is everything else can be reactional. Right? If I take off 1 week a month, what happens is I'm not like 1 week a month where there's no appointments, right? And by the way, I don't make appointments with my family. I don't make appointments with anybody, right? Like, it's like, I'll say to my mom, like, you want to have long 2-hour conversations with me? Call me the last week of the month. Because I have so much space the last week of the month. I'm there. But it's also where I grab flip charts and I think about things, but there's no alarm set. I'm not getting up in the morning with an agenda like I'm going to crush it on the last week of the month. I get up, I know what my month priority is. So that's probably another hack that I do. Every month I have a priority. And that priority takes precedence over everything else, right? I've been telling everybody to read the book, The One Thing. And so I was doing this before the book, The One Thing. The book, The One Thing, has told me, first of all, how much there really is a God, because I was taught that by the Holy Spirit, right? And there's this very popular book called The One Thing. And I'm telling you, everything it says in that book is exactly what had me put on blinders, not be a complete basket case, be able to handle extraordinary amounts of stress and not be an asshole in the process. Right? Like, not be somebody who destroys my relationships because I'm under pressure. Do you hear what I'm saying? Like, the one pressure I've not been able to fix yet, where I show up in a glowy way, is if I feel like somebody I care about, or I feel like there was a partnership I was doing a few years ago that I felt, I got into the partnership. I thought it was a really good move for our clients. I enrolled $1 million worth of people into it in literally a day. And then I felt I didn't feel good about the deal. And so I went, and even though that was a lot of money to me, I gave back everybody's money. because I did not feel that the client base was safe in the deal. And so I gave back the money. And I don't know if that was my fear coming up. I don't know. But what I do know is that I couldn't sleep, and I felt like there was something hidden or not right for our clients. And so I was like, I'm not taking that money. Like, I don't want that. And so I turned the money back. Right. And I refunded everybody. And so, and in that process, I was a stress case. Right. And I wasn't necessarily nice. And Ash and I had a couple fights at that time. And that is the only time that I can tell you in probably about 10, 11 years that truly I was at a high level of stress because my bandwidth got shot, because emotionally, when you get stressed, it's emotional. Emotionally, I couldn't handle it. Do you guys hear what I'm saying? And so what allows me to be able to handle it is taking that last week of the month off. If I take the last week of the month off, there is nothing that I can not do. I mean, I feel like if I needed to put 2,000 people in an event, I feel like I could do it in 30 or 45 days if I cleared my calendar, right? And made it, that was the number one focus. So I'm going to leave you on this to say, you might not take a week off a month. Maybe you can't, right? But you might say, the Bible, it's interesting because the Bible says basically that we work 6 times a week and we have one free day a week. But society has taught us that we need to get everything our way. We need to be in the flow. It's all about balance. But then you're fighting for financial freedom. There is no balance in financial freedom. Okay, balance is broke. I'm telling you, balance is broke. People always say to me, they say, Shanda, you have the most balanced life. I don't. Because if my husband tries to talk business with me on the last week of the month, like, he's in trouble. Like, I need to shut it down. It's almost like my way or the highway. I hate to say it that way, but I haven't figured out another way of leading it yet, where it's like, I can talk about things that I'm creating. I can inbound it to my team, but I don't want them inbounding back to me. Because if they inbound back to me, I feel like I just got back into work, right? And I actually, it's like being an artist, an entrepreneur or an athlete or an artist, we're all the same. And if you can create this space, so number one is, what is your flex time? My flex time is the last week of every month. I don't do this because I'm trying to get a holiday. I'm not doing this because I'm trying to get balance in my life. I do this so that I get smarter. I do this because I'm less stressed out. I do this because it expands my bandwidth. I do this because I can get intimate with a project that I'm working on, right? And not run reacting. And so I do this so I can figure out my messaging. I do this so I can, and by the way, my messaging is connected with understanding you guys. I do this so I actually have the ability to create the multiple millions of dollars, as well as the huge amount of impact with millions of people every single year, right? And so I remember sitting in Starbucks and not knowing what I'm supposed to do. I remember working 7 days a week, and it didn't produce anything great in my life. And I've seen more people get sick and more people lose their ability to produce endurance. Business is an endurance race, right? And so is life, so is marriage, so is parenting. It's everything I see that is valuable is an endurance race. And so you got to be fueled up. And the biggest thing that will stop your business and your life from going forward is an emotional breakdown. And so I am responsible. You are responsible for your own emotions. And if you are emotionally breaking, you need flex time. So some of you guys need less. Some of you guys need Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Some of you guys need a week. I need a week, right? If I have a week, I feel like there's enough space that I can get my brain working on something, so that and have enough space that I get a pedicure and a manicure and not feel the rushed energy. And what happens is creativity spins up. And because I know what my number one priority focus is monthly, so that's a key. What is your priority focus every single month, right? And sometimes it's the same one for 3 months in a row, right? But because I know what the one thing is that I'm working on, my flex week is really that. Now, what does it also kind of measure up? My time with my son, my time with my husband. Now, I will tell you, Puerto Rico is kind of a blessing because that kind of happens every single day here. The end of my day, I stop work at between 4 and 4:30. It's the same in California as well. California, I stop at 3 p.m. if I'm in California, but 4 o'clock is really my cut time on Eastern Standard Time, which is about 1 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. And I stop work at that time because I still, whether I'm in Pacific Standard Time, Atlantic Standard Time, Eastern Standard Time. I am without a doubt, up and working by 5 a.m. And so I am a 5 a.m. girl. So everybody who works with me needs to know, like, I'm off at that time. I don't like things text messaged to me unless, is this helpful, you guys? Yes or no? Let me know if this is helpful, right? I keep things off my text message unless it is an emergency. And an emergency isn't like, hey, somebody wants a call with you, or hey, I sent you your cash projections. Like, that's not an emergency, right? Emergency is like your kid just got hurt at the park. An emergency is, there was fraud in the company. Emergency is one of our team members just got cancer. Emergency is somebody in the company is going to emergency. Like, that's emergency. Emergency is a 10. Like, and I will tell you, people will abuse your cell phone, and you should look at your screen time, right? My screen time is 5 hours a day in text messaging. That's unacceptable. And so I got, even doing this live, like, I get to go, because what I do is I'll text people back, and they'll be like, please don't text me, put it in Slack, right? But the truth is, I need to set a rule inside of our company, which I'm now going to do this Friday. I'm going to set a rule inside my company that people do not text me unless it's an emergency. Emergency is, hey, we need access to your computer and you're doing a virtual event. That's an emergency. Okay? Emergency isn't, hey, can I have access to your computer at 7:00 tomorrow morning? No, you should plan that ahead, and you should let me know in Slack. And if I didn't answer you, then now it's getting pressing, right? It's like, I'm going to text you tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. my time because I need access, right? And so that's an emergency. So what do I use? I use Slack, and I use an app called Voxer. I use Slack, and I use an app called Voxer. Voxer is my version of text messaging and voice messaging. That's changed my life, because now I can actually manage my day. There is nothing more unproductive than being disturbed or interrupted when you're working. And I'm going to tell you, I would be willing to bet 99% of the people watching this live right now that if you were to put the safeguards on that I just said, which is an hour to 90 minutes every day, the same time every day, is priority focus time, which means you're focusing on the number one priority for the month. It's not to-do list time. It's what is the number one priority of the month. Do you need to study something? Are you in a mastermind and you need to study, like in our mastermind, you might need to study cash injection strategies. You might need to study how to get people to promote you. Maybe you need to study how to create a flagship product. Maybe you need to study, how do I understand my profit and loss statements? Maybe, you know what I mean? Like, what is it? Maybe you need to study how to do a video sales letter. Maybe you need to create a video sales letter. Maybe you need to create pocket coaching like I do. Maybe you need to design a program. Maybe you need to focus on reaching out to joint venture partners. Maybe you need to focus on reaching out to people with big Facebook groups so you can provide content for the Facebook groups, right? And get more known and offer a free gift on it. Like, maybe you need to design a free gift because you have nowhere for people to access to be able to grow your email and text message list. I don't know, but what I do know is that you know where your pain point is. And priority focus is dealing with your biggest pain point or your biggest goal that you're working on. So you're either alleviating your biggest pain point, or which really is your biggest goal, because your biggest goal has a lot of pain in it, right? And so the pain is usually, I'm not doing what it takes to create this big enough goal. And that's why people fail. It's not because things are hard. It is actually because we are difficult to manage. And so if you create rules in your life, which is, I have flex time every month, which is a week off, right? A week with no meetings. I don't want my assistant calling me. I don't want anybody calling me. Only people I'm interested in talking to is my financial advisors. That's it. Okay. And then priority focus time every day, Monday through Friday. And then third thing is knowing what my number one priority is for the month. And if you had those three things in check, that's really my secret to getting a lot done. And I'll tell you a secret in corporate America, or a secret in entrepreneurship. If you are sitting at a dinner table or on a Zoom meeting or in an office meeting, and you are overwhelmed, all you're telling people in your life is that this is the best I got. This is the best I got. And the problem with that is you're leading with your worst. And unfortunately, either nobody's going to partner with you to grow. They're not going to, any baller is not going to want to hang out with you, because what ballers look at is leadership. And do you have the ability to look at a challenge and be like, I'm responsible for that? Or are you still blaming? Are you still making up excuses? Are you still telling everybody how busy you are? And I know this can sound very condescending, but I'm telling you the truth. That the most, like, I will hire somebody that will walk into a position and be like, do you have more for me to do? Because their leadership is in check. When the person right before them was buried and saying, I need 17 people to help me, because they don't run their productivity right. So I'm going to end this live on this. I hope that you take what I'm saying seriously. I hope that you design the rest of the week and put priority focus time in. I hope you design all of next week as a to-do action after this live. And all of next week, I hope you literally put in priority focus time, if nothing else, and ask yourself, what's the main thing for this month? If you could take 1 or 2 days this week and add it to a weekend or put it somewhere so that you can get some momentum of space in your life. I'm going to tell you, when you have enough space, you'll notice that creativity rises. If you don't have enough space, creativity won't rise. And so some of you guys get into a creative state really quickly. You don't need a week. You're good. But I have found for me that I was just a hot mess before. And I would get mad if you sneezed around me, because I was so overwhelmed all the time that I found the perfect kind of flex time for me was the last week of every month. And now everybody knows that in my life. All my friends know that. Everybody knows that. And so everybody gives me my space. And if they don't, then they're just straight out rude. I got to remind them, enough already. Don't contact me on Flex Week. All right, my friends. Are we good? Was this valuable? I just want to hear real quick, what stood out to you? Anything good? Like, is there anything you're going to take forward? Like, is anybody going to do flex time? Is anybody going to like put priority focus time in your calendar like today and build? You got to book out next week. If you don't book out next week, like if you don't put priority focus time on next week, I'm telling you, you will forget this live. You'll go into next week and you'll be right back in the weeds, and the weeds equate to worry eventually. And I'm telling you, you could lead this thing differently. It could look so different. So good. All right. So I'm glad that my time was useful here. I'm glad that we could make a difference, and I will see you tomorrow morning. And for I'm going live tomorrow morning. I'm going to try and go live on Friday, but I have a dentist appointment because when I was in Ireland, my cat fell out of my mouth. So I have this big hole in my mouth right now. I need to go get that fixed on Friday. So wish me luck. I'm going to a dentist in Puerto Rico. Just hope I make it back. All right, you guys. So much love to you. Here's to having a productive end to the week. Love, 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 love. Talk to you soon.